Hey guys, Erin, your pregnancy fit coach. I am documenting my pregnancy number 5. I have a couple videos already made of week 4, 5, 6, 7, and I actually came up with a different way to do this for week 8. And so we just had our first ultrasound this morning, so our baby confirmation and our ultrasound. It went great, I'll be honest with you, very surreal. Because it's taken a lot to get to this point, and to see your baby on screen, and to see them moving around, their little hands, their feet, their heartbeat, to hear the heartbeat. I mean, it was just surreal. So if you have followed my journey of, my first baby, the miscarriages, the attempts at IVF, and now we're here and this baby is natural. It's been a journey, but I'm super excited to show you. Here are ultrasound pictures from this morning. My husband is really excited. I know Finn will be excited, but I don't think he will quite grasp that he has a sibling coming. So April 16th is our due date. So somewhere, give or take within there, depending on, I'm also 42. So they don't like to let you go 40 weeks. They like to kind of keep a close eye on you, and, every baby's different. So we'll see what we get to. But so with that being said, I wanted to kind of document this journey because, it's been a journey to get here. And at the same time, I'm also starting a business, running a business, raising a toddler, all the other, wifely duties, home, stuff like that. And being pregnant, being pregnant at 42 is probably a lot different than being pregnant at 25. I don't know. I have no comparison, but this pregnancy is different than the first one. So what I did was I decided to come up with some questions. Thank you, ChatGPT. And just kind of do a solo interview. And I think this would be a really cool thing to be able to look back at and kind of see, how much progress I have made in terms of my business and pregnancy and all the different things and raising a toddler and everything like that. So starting at this point, I'm going to read questions and I'm just going to answer them as if someone were asking me the questions. And then, I'll release all these videos on YouTube. And once we get to a point that it's okay to we're good, we're moving forward with this baby, and, I'll release these to the public on my YouTube channel. But until then, I'm going to keep them locked safe in my phone. But I'm excited to release them in a couple weeks, and we'll go from there. So starting with question number 1, it says, how are you feeling at 8 weeks pregnant, both physically and emotionally? Physically, I feel pretty good for the most part. I'm a little bloated. That's expected. I'm also on progesterone. And so I do that twice a day. It's a suppository that I have to insert, and it makes me a little nauseous. So my nausea is a little bit stronger than what I had with Finn, and nothing I can't handle. So I'm just kind of pushing through. I want a healthy baby at the end of this. And, if you're a mom out there, you get it. You're going to do whatever you need to do to make that happen. And so here I am. Physically, I feel pretty good. I'm still going to the gym. I'm tempering some movements right now just because, been through a lot. So I just want to get a good workout, but I want to be safe doing it. It's also what I do, training pregnant and postpartum moms. So there's that. Emotionally, after this morning, I think my emotions are all over the place. I am super excited. I am anxious still. It's taken a lot of mental toughness to get to this point. And so emotionally, I have every emotion in the book at this point. I just could not be more thankful that this morning went the way that it did. And it makes me so excited. But, I'm still a little hesitant, still a little reserved. So there's that to be expected with, given the previous. All right. What's been the biggest difference between this pregnancy and your previous one? So far, the nausea is different. I would say with Finn, I didn't really change a whole lot. I kept eating normally, worked out probably just as hard as I normally would, not having a pregnancy. So I would say that the biggest difference between the two is I'm older. So I'm just kind of and I've just had a different, road to get here. So it's, I don't feel, like I can just do everything that I normally do because, I have hesitations and a little bit of anxiety, PTSD, if you will, from, different things. So I would say that's the biggest difference is it's not smooth sailing for me. So it doesn't feel as relaxed as it should be. How are you approaching fitness and nutrition in these early weeks? I would say nutrition doesn't really change for me. I haven't really had food aversions. I was eating a salad the other day and it was like, vinegar and oil. And it would just, at some point I was like, I just don't want any more of it. And that's kind of the first time I've actually had some sort of food aversion. It wasn't really like I didn't want it. It was just like, I don't know, like my stomach wasn't feeling the rest of it. It could be some of the nausea. It could just, whatever. So I just moved on. I just, instead I had some Pop-Tarts. I mean, probably not healthy, but that's kind of what I had like a couple hours later. Fitness, I'm still going to CrossFit every single day. I got my 5 a.m. crew. They keep me accountable. I keep them accountable. My movements are different. Like I said, I'm not jumping on boxes, but instead of jumping on boxes, I'm stepping on boxes, but I'm using a weight to do so. And, little things like that. I can still keep my intensity high, but, just being safer about it, just being smarter about it. And just, trying to get to a point where, I feel like I'm in the clear and, go from there. I just want to be able to move my body and move it well. And, that's what I'm gonna do. What's one piece of advice that you'd give other moms in their first trimester? This is a tough question. Everyone's experience is so different. I would definitely say, don't listen to the noise. Do what feels good for you. Make wise decisions for you and your body, for your baby, and talk to other moms. That is the most important. I think, this is my, my fifth pregnancy, so to speak, but second, viable one at this point. And, I know kind of thinking back to my first one, I relied on all my CrossFit moms, just because, it was tough to like figure out like what can I do to work out? And, they're telling you can't do anything where you reach your heart rate over 140 beats per minute, which is not realistic. I mean, people go run, people do high intense training. And, back in the day, people didn't have watches that tracked that stuff. So like, how would you even know unless you're like stopping midway through the workout and like trying to count, it's just not realistic. So, when I was pregnant the first time, I was also a medical device trainer. So I trained a lot of OBGYNs. And so anytime they would come into the lab, I would literally pick their brain about anything. I literally, whatever I was going through that week, or, it would just be something I'd be like, hey, how about this? Or, hey, what about this? Or why do we call it this? And, it's just stuff. And they'd be like, the medicine is just so outdated at certain points. So I would say, do what feels good for you. Do what feels good for, your body. And if something doesn't feel right, listen to it, right? Back off your workout, whatever it may be. Call the doctor if you need to. Don't sit on it. And then, use your mom groups. Your mom groups are going to be, and if you don't have a ton, like go find them. I mean, there's so many on Facebook, but those can also be overwhelming. So just kind of, be cautious about how you go into that, and don't go down a rabbit hole of looking into things, because if you are a negative Nancy, oh man, you can just find anything and everything out there that will just like make your pregnancy miserable, and just, I don't know, give you anxiety and whatnot. So I would say my piece of advice is don't listen to the noise. Listen to your body. Your body is going to be, you know yourself better than anybody else. So use your intuition. You've got it. And that would be the best way that I can approach it. Lean on your mom, friends. I would say lean on your mom, but, when my mom and I talk about things, it's very different. The way she raised us as kids, as she did a wonderful job. It's just a very different world that we live in. So, and her pregnancies and the way that they handled pregnancy back then was probably vastly different than it is now. So, I always go to my mom for everything, but, sometimes the comparison just doesn't work. But, she's my best friend, and, I don't know what I would do without my mom. So, all right, moving on. Next question. So now this is going into actually like raising a toddler. What's it like balancing pregnancy while also raising a toddler? It's tough, I must say. Right now, I'm sure it's a little easier than, later weeks when you're actually showing and bigger and really tired and that sort of thing, not sleeping as well. Right now I'm good. Like my little guy, he's 2.5. He sleeps through the night. He's a great little kid. He's just got a lot of energy. So there's like times when I don't have a lot of energy, that like his energy is tough to handle, or he hasn't been outside and burned any energy. So he's like jumping around and I'm like, oh my gosh, you've got to leave me alone. But other than that, I mean, it really hasn't changed much for me. I mean, I love my little guy. He is the light of my life. And, I don't know where I'd be without him, honestly. How do you carve out time for yourself while still meeting your toddler's needs? Well, time for myself. He goes to daycare, so, he's there basically 8:30 to 5 every single day. That's when I'm running my business. That's when I'm doing marketing. That's when I'm working with my clients. That's when I'm meeting with people, networking with other businesses, that sort of thing. But like time for like me and not like business oriented is the gym. So like my space in the gym, I go at 5 a.m. So I actually go, and then when I'm done, I come home and I wake him up after that. So it doesn't really impact, I'm able to take my own time. And then if my morning isn't crazy, after I drop him off, I'll come back and I'll go walk the dog as well. And kind of that gives me like another 20 minutes of like outside in the sun, just kind of mental clarity. So kind of doing my own me time as well. What are some of the funniest or most unexpected challenges your toddler has brought into this season? Well, he is hilarious. I think it's funny when he refers to himself as Finian. So in the third person or first person, I don't know what you would call that, but he's always like silly Finian. And I think it's because we say that to him, or he'll do stuff and he does it at school. He just has so much personality. He's just such a cute kid, such a cool kid to be around. And he just absorbs everything. I mean, it's not like, don't say something that you don't want him to hear and you don't want him to remember, because he does not forget a thing. You say he's getting ice cream, he's getting ice cream. You say he's, getting a chocolate, like for example, he knows that they give out suckers on Friday at school. And every day when I go pick him up, he's like, candy. And I'm like, no, not till Friday. But like every single day, like he wants that sucker. They have dum-dums. Anyway, so he just is, he's great. I mean, I couldn't have picked a better kid to be our kid. I mean, he just is the best. Challenges right now, he's 2.5. So I would say the challenges are, it's not very often, but, he does have little temper tantrums, and, we're really working with him when he gets frustrated. Like he'll whine and kind of cry, and like, you have to kind of like tell him, take a deep breath and, use your words. Like, okay, you don't want a bagel for breakfast. What is it that you do want? Like, tell me, because he's smart enough. He knows, he can verbalize that stuff. So I would say right now, the challenges right now are really working with him to verbalize his emotions. He's not one of those kids that like falls down on the floor, kicks and screams and just bloody murder. Like, thank God he's not like that. Not to say he won't be like that, hopefully not. But, I think my husband and I do a really good job of trying to like work with him, talk to him almost like he's an adult, but like just, because we know he understands a lot of stuff. He knows, I mean, he can verbalize so much stuff. So we really try to work with him in that regard, because we know he can get there. How do you involve your toddler in preparing for the new baby? Okay, so we say prayers every night when he goes to bed, and we always pray for baby number 2. That they have a long, full, healthy pregnancy, and that we're so excited to meet them in April. I don't think he's grasped that yet. The big thing with that, I don't think he's really going to get that until he actually sees my stomach get bigger, and then we talk more about like, this is you having a brother, or this is a sister, or something like that. So I don't think he's really wrapped his head around it yet, although we do talk about it. So he is exposed to it. At daycare, they do a really good job. They've got like little baby dolls, and the kids practice like feeding them with bottles and changing their diapers and stuff like that. So hopefully, who knows, but hopefully that helps like kind of prepare for like, when a sibling arrives. So when this baby arrives, he'll be 3 and change. So I'm hoping at that point he will be 1, potty trained, and 2, be in a big boy bed. So we have kind of like hit a couple milestones, and that's like not one thing that I have to deal with, transitioning a toddler and then also having an infant. So I know that to the moms that are out there that have done that, like, more power to you. I hope I just don't have to do that. So that's all I have for Finn, but he'll figure it out at some point. All right, the next part is talking about business. So what inspired you to start your business during this chapter of life? Well, one, I've always loved, when I found out I was pregnant with Finn, I was 38, delivered him at 39. There was so much conflicting information out there. And so what I found was, who do I go to for information? And there's got to be other moms out there that, don't understand like what they can and can't do in the gym. Like, what are they supposed to eat, not eat, whatever. I kind of look at myself as like a fitness coach, but like a life coach too. Like, I've been through a lot. I was a teacher. I went into medical device. I was a recruiter, and then I went back to med device. And then I decided, the corporate world is just not friendly for moms. And if you're a mom and you're in the corporate world, like, you get it, and if you stuck it out as your kids got, older and whatnot, like, I am super proud of you, but it's unfair with maternity leave, and it's unfair with, travel schedules. And every company is probably different. But I would say, if you ask moms that are in the corporate world that have kids, they'll probably give you a similar feedback that it isn't super friendly, even though they try to be, mom friendly and mom forward and all that kind of stuff. But what inspired me to start my business is, honestly, we struggled to have this baby, and I wanted so badly to give my child a sibling. And I think stress levels, the fact that corporate is a tough place to be as a mom, wanting to be with my child and never missing, a play or an event or a sporting, something like that. I want to be present. I don't ever want him to be like, oh my gosh, it's, everyone's parents are here and mine aren't because we're working. That's just not, jobs are going to come and go, but my family is forever. And they're the most important people in my life, and they always will be. They will always come first. And that's kind of why I left corporate, because, people say that, oh, we're a very family-friendly company, but they're not. It's with the demands that people put on, salespeople or people in the company, there's no like cutoff time, right? You're in an office from 9 to 5 or whatever your hours may be, but like after 5, are you still getting phone calls and text messages and emails? Absolutely. Like, there's just no cutoff. And I just don't want that. And so I started this company because my company, the Pregnancy Fit Coach, to work with both pregnant and postpartum moms, because I know that I can be a resource for them, and they can be a resource for me. Like, I've already made, I feel like, good friends with some of these clients that I've had. And I'm so thankful that they are, some of the first clients for me, because they've been great. I think they enjoy what they're doing with me in the gym. And I know what I'm doing is going to benefit so many moms out there. And that's all I want. I want them to be able to come in and like take a load off, whatever you want, your kid's driving you crazy, but like, let's burn some, let's burn it with a workout and, kind of go from there. So I just wanted to be a resource for other moms, and I wanted to build something that I'm proud of. And, I didn't know what kind of work would go into this business, but I'm so glad that I've taken it on. We're a little strapped for cash. That's not fun. But at the same time, I know that what I'm doing, it's, the fruits of my labors will come. And I'm not worried about it, because I love it. I literally love going to the gym. I love creating the programs. I love coming up with stuff. I love catering it to the moms. I love learning about their lives, their husbands, their kids, their sports, anything that they do, what they did breastfeeding wise, what they didn't, it's just, I love it. I love every part of it. And so I started this business because I'm a coach, and I've always been that way. I'm someone who can connect with people, and, I love fitness too. Why not put them together? So there's that. What's been the hardest part of building a business while being pregnant and parenting? I don't really think building a business was hard because I'm pregnant. I mean, I started this process back in January or in December and kind of kept it going. I actually think that what I'm doing, because it's with pregnant and postpartum moms, it's so easy for me to do it pregnant because I'm going to practice what I preached. I already have, right? I did this when I was pregnant. I did it when I was postpartum. And now I'm training people how to, go through their pregnancy or their postpartum journey and how to move their bodies safely. I don't feel like it's hard. What I'm doing with my clients is not hard. The backside of building a business, like getting all the legality stuff, getting your website up and running, the way that things just kind of like intertwine and all the different things that you got to keep track of that you use to start a business. All of that stuff is tough, but I think I'm a little past it. Now I'm also like a one-man stop, right? I do all the marketing. I create videos and clip things here and there and then create the content and then I dispense it and then I put it in my videos or my feed. It just, there's a lot of that kind of stuff that like, it makes me like social media less, to be quite honest with you, because social media was fun to like go on and like look at everyone's kids and families and like, oh, what are they doing for Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and all the things. Like, I love it that way, but I live on my business account. And so I don't utilize my personal account as much. And so I think some of that, has taken me away from why I liked social media to begin with. But other than that, I think building a business, I mean, it's tough. It's not easy. But I don't think the pregnancy, just because I'm so early at this point, has really impacted that. Now, check this video in 40 weeks and then we'll see. Has motherhood shaped the way you run your business? Absolutely. It is literally the reason why I started my business. I want to work with moms. Like, if your schedule is A, B, and C, like, let me figure out what my schedule looks like and let's find a place that works. Like, I want to be flexible for the moms. If you have to bring your kids into the gym, bring them into the gym. If I need to hold them the 45 minutes you're working out, by all means, I'm gonna hold them. Whatever you need to do, like, I'm trying to be as flexible and accommodating to my moms as I possibly can be. And because I came from the corporate world that just wasn't like that. And if you are a male running, CEO running things, you might have a wife that's had kids and you're like, oh, I get it. My wife had it. No, you don't get it. You don't get it. Your wife went through the pregnancy, went through the postpartum, went back to work or didn't go back to work, whatever it might be. It is not the same. A female that is actually running a business that is for, pregnant postpartum moms, like, I get it because I've lived it, right? I've lived that corporate life. So, and some of my moms are, stay-at-home moms and some of them are working moms. So, they've got both. And so for me, motherhood has completely shaped it. I create a schedule that allows me to go see my little guy at daycare if they're having a picnic or whatever the event might be. And whatever it is, but motherhood has totally taken over what I want to do. And that's the whole reason why I started it, was because I wanted to be a mom first. And I want to run a business that I'm proud of. And I want other moms to be out there that want to do this as well. Maybe not run a business like what I'm doing, but like know that you can do it, right? You don't have to be in this 9-to-5 job that you're unhappy with. Like, find something that you are happy with. Find something that you're passionate about, because passion to me goes way farther than a paycheck. I'm not making a whole lot of money right now, but you know what? I'm happy. And right now, I'm pregnant with an 8-week baby that, prior to this wasn't happening. And I can tell you right now, it was probably stress. It was probably the corporate life. It just was a whole lot of factors that I just eliminated and said, I'm going to do me. I'm going to make me happy. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to figure out what works best for me, my family, and go from there. And so, yes, motherhood has shaped everything that I do. And it will always continue to be in the forefront of everything that I do. I want to make sure that that holds true for where this business goes. And, if it becomes some sort of empire down the road, I would love that. But you know what? I want it to still be mom first, and supporting our moms in any way that we can. Okay, off my soapbox here. What do you hope other moms see or feel when they follow your journey as a business owner? Exactly what I just said, honestly. I want the other moms that are out there to know that anything is possible. Your dreams are possible. There's a thing that popped up on my Instagram or my Time Hop or whatever, and it was like, dream big, or something like that, something about dreaming. And I know I reposted it. It was like, when did we stop dreaming? Like, everyone's just, we got to work, we got to do this, we got to, whatever. But like, again, jobs are going to come and go. Like your family, your time, quality time, going on vacation, taking that time, to spend with your kids, being present. I mean, that is so valuable. More so than a paycheck. I mean, listen, I get it. Like, we're a little strapped for cash, but my husband told me the other day, I had a couple different opportunities pop up, and he was like, listen, I would rather struggle, for a couple months right now while you're building this business than for you go back to a corporate job that you don't want to do for like 6 months just to have a paycheck. He's like, because this is what you want to do. And I hope all of my moms out there have a husband that's like that, because, he is a rare breed. He is a wonderful guy. He has been by my side through this journey, up, down, left, and right. And he has always supported me. Financially, he is supporting us. I contribute a little bit right now. But in terms of like a dream and like quitting corporate and deciding to do this, he has been my biggest fan. He has supported everything that, I decided that I wanted to do. But he's also very level-headed. So he's one that you can sit down and kind of, throw things at the wall at. And, he kind of, can help decipher or whatnot with different ideas and stuff like that. And so for all of my moms out there, I just want you to see that, number one, I'm passionate about what I do. And that's why I do it. And that anything is possible, dream big, shoot for the stars. If there's something that you're sitting on that you're like, I really wish I could try this, or maybe I should try that. And, I just don't have time. Just do it. Rip the Band-Aid. Just do it. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. And don't second guess yourself. Give yourself some time and give yourself grace too, because it's tough. Starting a business isn't easy. And all you want to do is compare yourself to everybody else that's kind of in a similar boat that's out there doing what you're doing. But the way that your business is going to grow is through you, and through your passion for what you do. So, I may not have a ton of clients right now. I don't really care, to be honest, because I love the clients that I do have and I love working with them. And that's all that matters to me. If they walk out of the gym that day and they're like, wow, it was a great workout, I feel so much better about myself. Or at the end of the 5 weeks and they're like, wow, I feel pretty confident to put my bathing suit back on. Or, I can't wait to have a date night with my husband or whatnot. That's what I want. I want everyone to feel, adored by their husbands. I want you to feel confident when you leave. I just want you to, whatever you're coming to me for, I want you to leave with. If it's confident, if it's weight loss, if it's, building strength, or, gaining a mom friend, or chatting about, all the craziness of raising children and motherhood and whatever it is that you're coming to me for, I hope you leave with that and more. Because I'm considering all of my clients friends at this point, and you better believe you're in my phone, so I'm going to text you. And I'm going to rely on you because, we're all in different motherhood stages, and it's great. Like, that's part of this. Is it's great to like build a community and have people to, kind of throw things at the wall with. One of my clients right now is asking her about like sports. What do you do for sports for your kids? Like, they're older than mine, but at some point my little guy is going to be, the same age as her little boy. And I want to know, like, how are you doing that? How are you handling that? Where are you placing them? What do you think? And she's very much a competitive athlete, and she wants good coaches, and she doesn't want just, whatever. So anyway, I think, there's just so much value. So I'm probably off topic here, but, I want the other moms to see that I love what I do. It does not, it does take work. it is work, but you know what? My little guy's at daycare while I'm doing it, and I'm able to, sit down and do a little video here and kind of build my business and, one client at a time. So, big picture. What does balance mean to you right now? I mean, I created this life for me and my family. So balance is everything. I work during my work hours. I'm with my family during my non-work hours. That's balance. I go to the gym. I get my endorphins running in the morning. I take my walk with my dog. That's balance to me. Being able to spend time with my family, not be glued to computers, anything like that. That's balance. So I think I've done a pretty good job of maintaining and developing and creating a balance for that works for me and my family. 2 more questions, guys. What helps you stay grounded when life feels overwhelming? Staying grounded. I don't know that would consider myself not grounded. My husband, he's can be a voice of reason for things. My 5 a.m. group at the gym, we hold each other accountable, expect each other to be at the gym daily. And you know what? For me, again, I'm just very simple. Yes, you need money to survive. Yes, you need money to live. But at the end of the day, we have a good home. Our AC's working. We've got food in the fridge. I have a crazy, amazing, all over the place 2.5-year-old. I have an amazing husband who, adores the shit out of me for whatever reason, because, I ain't all that easy sometimes. But if you can relate, you can relate. But yeah, I mean, staying grounded, I just go back to a simpler time back when, we didn't have cell phones and all the social media and stuff like that. I mean, we went outside and we ran around. We played flashlight tag and, where I grew up, we called them night games, and we basically play hide and go seek in the dark. We walked to the pool every single day, and we were there from open to close every single day. I mean, it just was a simpler time, but it was a great time. I mean, I would love to give my child an environment like that to grow up in, with the neighborhood kids and, running around. And I mean, we didn't do anything bad. I mean, we just, we were kids being kids outdoors. And, I think the world just makes it so hard for them now. And so for me, I'm so thankful for the time that we grew up in, because I think that is definitely something that keeps me grounded. I had great parents that, worked very hard to have the 4 of us. We went to Catholic school. That wasn't cheap. We all went to college, and I'm sure that wasn't cheap either. And so, you know what? I mean, my family means the world. My immediate family, my husband and Finn and Oliver, and this baby that's coming, like, they are my world. But my extended family, my mom and dad and the siblings that I grew up with, they are, they're my world too. And, those are the people that keep me grounded. Those are the people that keep me sane. Those are the people that know me, right? They know me from, childhood till now. And so, yeah, that's what keeps me grounded. And my faith also, we're not very good about going to church during the summer months. I don't know why. Don't ask me. But, when things get tough, that's when I look at God and say, I can't handle it. I got to throw it up to you, which is incredibly hard to do at times. It's been a trying 2.5 years for me, in that relationship. And I can tell you that I have lost faith and regained faith and that sort of thing. But being in church, listening to music, listening to lyrics, listening to, the priest talk, I mean, that's very grounding to me. So if you don't have, something that keeps you grounded in that manner. I hope you find it and hold on to it, because it's been a big part of my life since I was young, and always will be. And I hope that we can do the same thing for our little guy and our growing family. I hope that they, take a page from our book and find, faith that they can rely on for the tough times, because, my husband and I won't always be here. And, so you got to have something that's bigger than you that can push you through and help you see the other side of things. All right, last question. If you could go back and give yourself advice before starting this journey, motherhood and business, what would you say? Oof. Okay. When it comes to business, I would say, do research before you spend money. Talk to people that do what you do. Set up free phone calls before you, jump into things. Do your research and don't just spend money. I think it's, you live and you learn, right? When you're excited and you're starting a business and you're like, I got to do this and I got to do that and I got to have all these things. Like, you feel like you have to have all the pieces together to like start a business. You don't. If there's something that you want to do, however it is you want to do it, just start doing it. And then the other pieces will kind of flow together. So I would say, when it comes to starting a business, take your time, connect with other people that do what you do, chat with people, do your research, and do not just give your credit card to different things. So take a lesson in my book. I didn't blow like thousands and thousands of dollars by any means. I just like here and there, you're like, oh, that was like wasted money spent, right? Or I didn't need to do that or whatnot. So just different things like that. So just take your time, one day at a time, one step at a time. Don't try and do everything on the same day. Everything will happen. Everything will kind of work its way through. And eventually you'll look back and you'll be like, wow, I have a business and it's running. And how did that happen? Oh, me. But take your time. Anything I would say to myself before motherhood, I didn't put a whole lot of expectations on myself for motherhood. I kind of went into it again, I relied on like my mom friends at the time. And I guess the best way to say it is, just because it works for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. I did moms on call to make sure that my child slept through the night. That's what worked for us. I mean, moms on call may not work for everybody else. It's definitely a consistency thing. I mean, if you try moms on call, but you're not consistent with it, then, the sleep patterns are going to be off and that sort of thing. But that's what worked for me. So again, I would, lean into your mom friends, for sure. But, just because somebody does it one way doesn't mean that's going to be, the way that you do things. I kind of look at this very similar as, I was a teacher in a previous life, and you go into one teacher's classroom and you watch them teach and you're like, oh, I really like that. Or no, I wouldn't do that. You kind of like pull pieces from like what you see, what you know. And I can tell you right now, if you're a mom or you're not a mom and you're listening to this, and every single female out there has probably said, I would not do that with my kids. I would not do that with my kids. Okay, that's kind of like pulling in that information where you're like, all right, whatever she's doing with her kids, I don't want to do that, right? They're like running rampant and they're crazy and whatever. That's not my style. Like I want my kids to be well behaved and polite and whatever. So whatever that means for you, figure out how it works for you. But also keep in mind, I don't have a second child yet, but every kid is different. So what we did with Finn in terms of sleeping and eating and all those kind of things, it may be like a wild west with our next child. Who knows? So, that's what other people have told me. Everyone's like, oh, good luck with number 2, because, number 2 is way different than number 1. So, I think, take things with a grain of salt and then just give yourself grace. There are days when I lose my cool with my 2.5-year-old. But I do come back to him and I always tell him, I'm so sorry, mommy lost her temper or whatever. And, I love you so much, blah, blah, blah. And kids are resilient. So it's just one of those things. I would say, lean on your people, take your time. And that's motherhood. That's business. That's all of this. All right, guys. So I'm at 40 minutes. These will be released on YouTube. I'm excited for them to go on YouTube. All of my other videos are going to be less time. This is actually the first one that I pulled that had like 15 different questions. My other one has like 5 questions, so it won't be as much. So again, we are so excited for baby Jensen, number 2. And again, yay, so excited. Even more excited to get these videos out there to share with the world, and see what other people think. And, you know, hopefully it's like one of those things that, you know, people look at the video and they're like, that's awesome. Maybe it could be a podcast, whatever. I don't know. Who knows? I hope this has been, you know, enjoyable for you. I hope it's been fun. I hope you've learned a little bit about me or, you know, business or all the different things. So I hope you tune in. Again, the next weeks will be much shorter. I would say probably 10 minutes or less. But stick around. I got week 9 coming up next week, and I'm excited for y'all to go on this journey with me. And I think I'll post these videos probably every Friday. So look at that on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link on my Instagram so people can follow that. And yeah, until then, happy 8 weeks, and I'll see you guys next week. So thank you.